So what you're looking at here is the Certano string bender for the second and third string on a lap steel guitar. So it turns it into a semi-pedal steel guitar. I basically spent the day experimenting with different strings. Dave and I talked about just going 10 to 46, but those top three strings were just total slop. They needed to be much tighter than that to really work with the bar. It's kind of a hybrid set. We've got 46, 36, 26, and then a 20 plain string for the third, a 17 plain for the second, and a 13 plain for the top string. So this lever here displaces the pitch of the third string, and this is the second string. And that's basically all there is to it. Of course, the first thing to consider is the scale length. So you measure from the nut to the center of the 12th fret, or where the 12th fret would be if there were frets, and then you double that distance to find the placement of the bridge. I do move it back a little bit beyond the theoretical distance. You don't intonate each saddle like you would on a regular guitar because you don't have that displacement of pitch by pulling the strings down to the frets. That's why these bridges just go straight across. And that's it, Certano. So it's a guy in Italy, David Certano, that came up with this idea. My customer, David Love, is just starting a new band, and he's looking to use this thing in the new band. So let's have a look at that Esquire, also David's guitar. Before I go in the house, I want to bring you in here to kind of show you what I ended up doing with this bridge. So I need to preface this conversation with the reason that Dave had dropped it off. He got these parts, a guy put them together for him, the neck didn't quite fit the body socket. I ended up actually relieving the edge of the neck. Luckily the holes in the back were a large enough diameter to allow me to shift the neck slightly after relieving this side of the neck, because the problem was the strings were running right off the fingerboard. So the objective was to line them up like they are now, where you have equidistance from the outside of the fret to the outside diameter of the string. And in order to accomplish that, we talked about it briefly, and Dave was saying, well, you could just kind of shift the bridge a little. There's a video by Ted Tuford out of Hamilton, and I'll put the link for it up on the screen. Amazing guitar restore guy and overall guitar tech. Ted talks about how, a lot of these guitars, we live in a world now of kit guitars. Everybody's a guitar builder. But, if I can give you one word of advice, if you're going to buy a kit guitar, make sure you get them all from the same supplier. Don't get a Warmoth neck and a USA custom guitar body. Don't start mixing and matching bodies and necks because nothing's going to fit. Anyways, that video that Ted did is great because he covers how many things could possibly go wrong with a simple kit guitar assembly. As you can see, the guitar's got a Wilkinson bridge, but I ditched the Wilkinson saddles and went for the standard Fender saddles, which just come with a barrel. And the reason I did that, I've run into this before, the Wilkinson, where they relieve half of it. These saddles are much easier to kind of set up, and then the final tweaking, sharp or flat, can be done by raising or lowering the saddle just a tiny little bit to get the intonation line up. Now you will hear when I plug it in the studio, it's perfectly in tune, but I did have to work those inside edges to get a good fit. The Glendale and Callahan saddles tend to be much better machining than these actual Fender ones. So what I ended up doing to get these saddles and the strings to line up was to fabricate a small silicon brass block and super glue it to the edge of the ashtray here on both sides. And this one is quite a bit thicker than this one. And that's how we got those strings to line up with the pickups, line up with the neck, without having to shift the bridge, rerouter the cavity. It could turn into a total can of worms. So anyway, we got that lined up. These are stainless steel frets, and I did have to edge dress, which once again, when it's a maple neck, you can see at the beginning of the video, I had to tape the whole thing off. And being stainless steel, well, I'm not a fan of stainless steel frets, just put it that way. I much prefer the EVO fret wire, which wears 7 to 1 over regular fret wire, and you don't destroy your tools working with it. And of course at this end we've got our compensated nut, 10 to 46 strings, concert pitch. And there's another view of the nut from the leading edge. And there's his custom label. It is really quite deceptively versatile. One pickup and a three-way switch. And as you can see, we've got a beautiful match to that fingerboard radius. She's buttery smooth and perfectly in tune. Let's go have a listen. So now that you know what I went through to get this guitar to this stage, now we can play it a little bit and you can hear for yourself. So this is the progression I'm going to blow over. Basically A minor 7, D minor 9, C major 7th to B minor 11 to E sus. Second time through, similar, A minor 9 to D minor 9, C major 9 to B minor 7 flat 5 to E7 flat 9. So I'll play it one more time. Oh, incidentally, I did record it straight through the loop. That progression with no effects. There's a little bit of an effect, sounds like flange or something on the guitar right now. That effect was not on when I recorded this, so let this play. Is enough of the ethereal chordal thing. The simplicity of this guitar is pretty deceiving. It's an Esquire, one pickup, and if my ear serves me well, in this position it's basically the pickup with no tone, tone on 0. Or very little tone. Like I move that. Oh, there's a little... Okay, there's a little tiny bit of difference there. And then in the bridge position, well, that's wide open. The tone is out of the circuit, it does nothing. It's really in the middle position where all the kind of magic happens. This is wide open. And as I gradually back it off, to me, or to my ear, that's a sweet spot right there. So we go from this to this. Again. A beautiful jazz tone. So if we open that wide up, back it off a little bit. A little bit more. Okay, bridge. And so again. So this is middle position, wide open, same thing. Back that tone off. A slap back echo on that. Okay, so we will let that play.